Make sure you download the Woodward Sports app in the App Store and the Google Play Store today. Take Woodward Sports with you wherever you go and listen live on your phone or mobile device.
Good morning. What a thrilling weekend. My goodness. I don't even have words for what most of you witnessed over the weekend. Michigan captured their first Big Ten title since 2004. The Lions come back in thrilling fashion. I mean, probably 2 minutes left in the game. Lions fans are ready to pull their hair out of their heads.
Yep. I was
Lions
one of them.
make a drive. They score. The rest is history. But let's just get straight into it, Jeff. Lions win 29-27. Huge win.
Huge
in the sense of, thank God I don't have to show up here anymore and talk about a winless season. I mean, let's just start there. The fact that that's no longer a conversation, I think gives a lot of, what's the word I'm looking for? A lot of release of tension, pressure. Now, don't get me wrong. Dan Campbell's still a doofus. Still a big-time doofus, especially that fourth and inches call at their own 30. Like, 31 NFL coaches punt the football. And may I remind Lions fans, there's only one team just as, if not more, aggressive than the Lions currently are, and that's the Los Angeles Chargers. And they have Joe Burrow, Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, Austin Eckler, a great offensive line, and a strong defense. What do the Lions have? But hey, it worked out yesterday. They were able to put together a great drive. Mike Zimmer out-doofused Dan Campbell. That's really what decided the game. Dan Campbell went full dummy mode, gave the Vikings the game, basically. And then Mike Zimmer said, I'm not going to let you look dumber than me. And he went out and he gave him the game right back. It was impressive. It was a battle of doofuses on Sunday, and I'm glad people got to witness it.
No, Battle of Doofuses is well said. And Dan Campbell's mentioned this before, I think a game or two ago, is, listen, the rest of the season, we're just going to spoil everyone else's season. And they beat the Minnesota Vikings, essentially knocking them out of that wild card spot. So kudos to the Lions for getting their first win. And we saw something yesterday, I think, we've been waiting to see since about week one, and that's clear 20 points. And I've brought this up before. If the Lions are able to clear 20 points in just a handful of these games, they'd have 3 to 4 more wins. It's been an offensive struggle. Defensively, they've shown up. Yesterday, they gave up 20-plus points, but the defense made plays. And despite Dan Campbell getting the win as a play caller, I still have an issue with the decision, especially a decision like Adam kind of alluded to, fourth and one. You're having Jared Goff drop back, and I think there was a statistic over the weekend I saw, and it was Dan Campbell in 4th and 1 or 4th and inches scenarios, and with Jamal Williams, he's 0 for 3. It didn't give the Jamal Williams the ball once in all 3 of those situations, and that's concerning a little bit. But regardless, the Lions get a win, first time in nearly a year, 364 days, since I think last December when Darrell Bevell beat the Chicago Bears, and that was his first game as an interim head coach. So it's been a while, and I think that's kind of why you saw the reaction in the arena. You saw it because fans have been waiting for this for a while.
What's the easiest way to pick up a few inches in the NFL?
What?
I'm asking. What is the easiest way to pick up a few inches in the NFL?
Well, you hand the ball off. I mean, that's
quarterback sneak, I like to imagine. I think it's pretty easy. Having said that, Don, to answer Don in the chat, I don't think it's just the play call. It is, that it was the decision to go for it. It was the play call that was so atrocious. You actually ran play action on 4th and inches on your own 30. It's really funny. It's really funny. Yeah, look, you guys can excuse Dan Campbell all you want. You can tell me how Sunday was a big day for him. Big day. How he picked up Sheila Ford after the game like they had just won the Super Bowl. It was so befitting of this franchise. I mean, honestly. Glad they finally won a game. Glad we don't have to hear 0-16-1. Glad we don't have to see this an off season of, they didn't win a game their first year. But there's so many warning signs, and at the end of the day, everyone sees warning signs, and then I look inside that locker room after the game, and I see a team celebrating, honestly, like they had won the division. I see an owner go down and tell her head coach how unbelievable it was, and the excitement. And I get it, to win a game in the NFL is tough. And to this point, they hadn't won a game. And I get it. They wanted to get the monkey off the back, which kind of justifies 5% of the celebrations they did. But oh my goodness. If you didn't think Dan Campbell was the coach before Sunday, you definitely don't think he is after. Another game where he just doesn't manage the situations correctly at all. At all. He gives the Vikings field position. The Vikings chose not to run another 40 seconds off the clock, and they threw a touchdown pass to Justin Jefferson, which is, I guess, fine. But look, I just think there's no good way about going about it. It's really interesting. It really is.
What I took from this win Sunday, definitely, is one thing I haven't seen the Lions do in past games that they did do yesterday was the ability to not only make mistakes, but overcome those mistakes. Because all year, I mean, you saw the decision-making by Dan Campbell yesterday. Usually those outcomes end in losses. And you saw last night, no timeouts. You had to go the full field. And Jared Goff, as much as we can hate on the guy, I think they had a great 2-minute drive. Amon-Ra St. Brown, 10 catches, 80 yards. And that's a guy that, I've said multiple times, will lead all receivers in yards. I still think that. Got his first career touchdown, though. That was good yesterday. But that's really what impressed me, is just the Lions' ability to overcome those mistakes, go down the field, march down the field. I know the Vikings were missing linebackers. Kendricks, they're out a lot of guys yesterday. So of the Lions all year. So it was a pretty good matchup in terms of injuries, but Lions yesterday, I'm not going to sit here and get too excited. I am excited they got the first win, of course, but you got to build off of this. And if you want to spoil team seasons, you're going to need to pick up, I think, another 2 to 3 wins to at least prove anything. If you end the season with 1 win, I think essentially the opinion still stands. I mean, it's not one win.
Let people enjoy Sunday. Thank God, this team isn't going to go winless. I think that is the silver lining for everybody we can all agree on. And if you want to criticize the play calling decision on 4th down, not punting, calling play action, that's fine. I'm for it either way. And if you guys want to cry, well, he's trying to win a game. Well, him trying to win a game has cost the Lions like 3-4 games this year. So it worked out on Sunday. And yes, nobody calls a perfect game. But nobody over a 12-week stretch makes the same amount of mistakes in the same moments of the game that Dan Campbell has made. Like, I don't get it. This isn't, the Lions won on Sunday, let's rip them on Monday. No, glad they won. Thank goodness. Finally. Especially after the week that the state went through. I mean, Big Ten football aside, you had the Oxford tragedy that happened over the week. This was nice. This was good timing. Good. Michigan won the Big Ten title. The Lions won their first game of the season. They're no longer going to be laughed at as a team that could go winless. Thank you. Good. I'm okay with that. Having said that, if you want to choose to ignore that the head coach of this football team constantly makes childish mistakes late in games and is clearly learning on the job, I can't help you. I really can't.
I think Kory, we'll have him in a segment or two, which I'm excited about. But I think he already tweeted over the weekend, which I couldn't agree with him more. And he's arguing with Lions fans on Twitter about it. Is you could talk about the talent on this team, and we've discussed it multiple times. You can't deny the fact that coaching decisions, whether it's Dan Campbell, whatever it is, have lost them a couple games, and they have been robbed of a couple games, a couple wins, despite being so talent. They haven't been talent driven, and they still have lost about 3 to 4 games just basically on strictly decisions. And last night you saw it, overcoming those decisions and coming out with a win. That's impressive to me, and that's something you can build off of. And we'll get Kory in here in a little bit. I can't wait to ask him questions about it. But I mean, last night I'm happy they got a win. The school of Oxford, the city of Oxford, was with Michigan this weekend. You got Michigan winning 42-3, which we'll talk about next. You got the Lions getting their first win after wearing all the Oxford gear before the game, and it's great. I mean, obviously the Lions getting their first win. They have a tie. It's a really weird 1-10-1. I guess we can celebrate it, build off of it is something. No,
they should build off of it. They should build off of it from a standpoint of they're not going to show up to Allen Park on Tuesday, miserable.
There you go.
No, nobody likes losing. Maybe this, fan base has gotten accustomed to it. Nobody likes losing. Them being 0-10-1 was embarrassing. It's not fun. Nobody enjoys it. Even in a rebuild. Teams rebuilding win 3, 4, 5 games a year. This team hadn't won a single game up until Sunday. So yes, happy they won. Thank goodness it's not an embarrassment anymore. Having said that, there's so many questions. But you know what? We're going to head to break. When we get back, we got to talk about Michigan football. First Big Ten title since 2004. But before we go, Jeff, could you tell everybody about Guardian Alarm?
Yeah, Guardian Alarm. Listen, guys, Guardian Alarm, they get it. Good defense on and off the field. And we talk about Michigan's defensive front. Guardian has got your back. And good defense on and off the field helps you feel secure. Guardian Alarm has state-of-the-art technology that helps you feel safe, all with 24/7 local monitoring. Guardian Alarm also has convenient features to let you check in on your home, control lights or temperatures. You can detect smoke or carbon monoxide. It will even let you lock and unlock doors. Call 800-STAY-OUT today. That's 800-STAY-OUT. Guardian Alarm has been trusted for over 90 years at keeping families safe.
Hi, I'm David Hall from Hall Financial. With mortgage interest rates unbelievably low, the stakes to find your new home have never been higher. And that's why Hall Financial's exclusive realtor network allows us to connect you with a top-rated realtor in your area, making sure you take on the housing market and win. Hall Financial has earned over 4,000 five-star reviews because of our technology and our commitment to closing your loan fast. 866-CALL-HALL or chat with us online at callhallfirst.com.
It's that time of the year again. Time for our second annual Stuff a Studio with Woodward Sports. Last year, Metro Detroit came together to help make the largest single toy donation in Mott Children's Hospital history. This year, we make it even bigger. Stuff a Studio is happening December 13th through the 17th at the Woodward Sports Studios in Birmingham. The children in Mott Children's Hospital fight so hard all year. Now it's up to all of us to help bring a smile to their faces. So while you're out holiday shopping, make sure you pick up an extra toy or two and help us spread some love to Metro Detroit this season. We look forward to seeing you December 13th through the 17th as we stuff our studio with Woodward Sports and Myre.
Woodward Sports Network, let's go! Ho, 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 ho!
In another great news story, headline, whatever you want to call it, Jim Harbaugh got it done. The Michigan Wolverines are your Big Ten champions for the first time since 2004, Jeff. Mm-hmm. Were you even born?
I was born. Okay. Well, that made me like 15 at this point, 16. But yes, it's still a while.
What do you mean? You weren't 15, 16 in 2004?
No, I'm saying if I was born at that time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
I'd be up here like 16. But anyway, yeah, it's still a while ago.
Dominating performance from Michigan. They pulled out all the stocks early on, struggled to get their groove going, and then they showed no mercy in the second half. Michigan were the better team for all 60 minutes, and let's be honest, I think if you were watching and paying attention to Iowa football all year, you knew that when they played a somewhat decent defense, they struggled to score points. Mm-hmm. And in their two marquee losses going into Saturday, they had scored 7 points and 7 points. That was Iowa. Michigan was always going to win this game. And I'm glad they did it in dominating fashion, and we can get to the college football playoff rankings a little later. But let's just talk about this right now. This team came into the season unranked. Mm-hmm. This football team didn't listen to any of its haters. Jim Harbaugh should be fired. He shouldn't be coaching at Michigan. Why is he being allowed to coach into the season? And here we are, coming off a 2-4 COVID season. Not many believed. And that football team did. And that fan base did. And when you talk about having an 11-1 season, now 12-1, going into your first college football playoff ever, winning your first Big Ten title in this division format ever, your first Big Ten title since 2004, that is a remarkable season. That is a long time coming. And that is what you brought Jim Harbaugh here to do. And he finally did it. And you know what? Part of me really hopes that when there is a good coach, I'm not talking about guys who are unproven, who haven't delivered at any level. No. I'm talking about a guy with a proven track record, when he's brought into your situation to overcome, let's be honest, an Ohio State that's turned into one of the most dominating programs in the country, to win the Big Ten, something you hadn't done the 10, 12 years prior to him anyways. When you ask somebody who is qualified to come in and do that, and he doesn't do it his first 6 seasons, but he does it his 7th, I hope that offers a little bit of patience for a lot of fan bases that are deering for a championship. Not some guy who's never coached a day in his life as a head coach. No, this is a qualified head coach. Super Bowl appearance, 3 NFC championship appearances, dominating program at Stanford. He's built programs. Comes to Michigan, they're top of the recruiting cycle every single year. One of the top teams. Doesn't get it done in the big games. Absolutely fair to criticize. But you know what he does? He answers the bell year 7. And I compared him to Dabo Swinney before the year started. Dabo Swinney, 6 years in, looked just like Jim Harbaugh did. What happened to Dabo Swinney year 7? He got the quarterback right. Mm-hmm. What did Jim Harbaugh do year 7? Got the defense right.
I was about to say.
Got the coaching staff right.
Yeah.
Don Brown's bum ass is no longer here. Thank goodness. That single man man defense that literally my mother could scheme against. This is what you get. And it takes, I want to take a special, I want to take some time to really admire and praise Jim Harbaugh, because it takes somebody really different and special to acknowledge your flaws. As individuals, as people, we are scared to address what makes us what we are. If I have flaws, if I have mistakes, there's nothing harder than me addressing them.
Everybody's got ego.
It's easy for me to deflect it, blame it on other people.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to look in the mirror myself and say, I'm wrong. I need to reevaluate my ways. I need different opinions in the room. And that's exactly what Jim Harbaugh did. And look what it's delivered. It's 8:18 in the morning, December 6th, 2021. And we're talking about Michigan going to the Orange Bowl after beating Iowa in the Big Ten championship game. After an 11-1 season where their only loss came to a number 7, I believe, ranked at the time, or number 8 ranked Michigan State football team that were undefeated. And that week catapulted to number 3 in the nation. It's a hell of a season. It really is a hell of a season.
You know what I took from Saturday's game, really watching it, and first off, what a gesture. I mean, Michigan, Jim Harbaugh alluded to it. Aiden Hutchinson thought of the idea with Tate Myre and getting his number, on the jerseys and with all the 3 hearts for the other victims. And now looking at the final score, 42-3, just the momentum Michigan went into that game with. We all predicted Michigan would win. Obviously, it was Jim Harbaugh's moment to go into the playoff. And Michigan and Alabama won me some money this weekend, I will say that. Bet the over on the 27.5 points for Michigan and bet Alabama on the money line. So it was a good weekend for me. But all I have to say is just wow. And kudos to Jim Harbaugh for a great year, honestly. I mean, that's National Coach of the Year accolades right there. Not only you beat Ohio State, your only loss on the season is to a very good Michigan State, and you were leading in that game. And really understanding this offseason, I mean, you've already brought it up. He can't do it alone. Bringing in, Josh Gaddis, Mike McDonald, putting them in a position to make noise in the college football playoff. And we knew Iowa would struggle offensively. I was most curious to see, and I've kind of said this last week, what they would do, Michigan's offense, against that front 7, and they couldn't run the ball as effectively with Hassan Haskins. They still found the end zone. Blake Corum shot away for a 40-yard run. J.J. McCarthy blocking guys on the sidelines. So they got it going, and that's really what I was impressed with. Despite throwing 2 early interceptions, you had McCarthy throwing one, McNamara throwing one, and they stayed persistent. They stayed locked in defensively. Aiden Hutchinson, another sack, couple pressures. He's really fighting his way. I mean, watching Thibodeau and Hutchinson over the weekend, I think who solidified the number 1 pick in my mind, it's definitely Aiden Hutchinson. I mean, defensively, they've been shut down, and I'm excited. I mean, we're going to talk about it later, but Georgia, that matchup is interesting.
That matchup shouldn't really be a thing, and we'll talk about that later. I think the committee's a joke.
Yes, Michigan should be 1, but
it's not even that they should be 1. Nobody in their right mind wants to watch an SEC title game.
No.
For the national
should have had the
championship.
SEC battle it out again. I mean, I know they don't want that.
It should have been a rematch between the two. Nobody wants to watch that snooze fest. Having said that, can everybody at home acknowledge, stop being stupid and put Nick Saban as an underdog coach? Please don't do that. The rest of America does not want to see that. Please, Nick Saban should never be the underdog. I don't care if he's coaching the Detroit Lions and he's going up against the best team in the NFL history. I don't care. Nick Saban, hell of a job. But we got to move on. Kory Woods is joining us this morning.
Mm-hmm.
Kory, how are you, man? Well, first, before I introduce Kory, let me say something. Sunday was his first win that he's ever been a part of.
Yay! He's got a smile on his face.
You got to give him a clap. Clap it up for Kory on that. But, Kory, I want to talk about Michigan first.
All right, so no.
Not too long ago, you started working here. Me and you had just gotten along, started talking. You and Ant were doing your podcast up here one night, I believe in October. And we looked at each other and we said, when they get rid of Don Brown is when they're going to be ready to compete for a national championship. Can you kind of elaborate on that for me?
Because we were just looking at Don's Brown defense, and it was just like, holy crap, they're getting shredded every single Saturday. I don't know what he was doing with Vince Gray, but he was getting smoked like a pack of Cools every Saturday morning. I really couldn't understand it, and I just thought that his defense was just overrated. They collapse every single time when you're expecting them to get a stop. They just collapse. So I was just like, you know what? They got to get rid of this guy. I've seen it too much. I've seen it on the sidelines coaching the game. I'm not coaching the games, taking photos at the games. It's like the guy's defense was pedestrian at best. And what happened? They got rid of him. What did Jim do? Talked to his brother. His brother's got a guy for him, Mike McDonald from the Ravens. Brought him in. Look what happened. I think Harbaugh has a younger staff now. Like, I think nobody's over 45, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
something like that.
On that. Yep.
I mean, that is what, to me, in my opinion, that is one of the reasons why Michigan's where they are right now. They got with coaches who are getting with the times, that can connect with these younger players. That old archaic way of doing things, get it out of here. It's not going to work.
Yeah, I think the conversation going into the year was, how is Michigan going to be able to run for 250, 300 yards against Ohio State, Michigan State, Penn State, Iowa, in a Big Ten title game, in a big bowl game? And, Kory, they've been able to do it all year. And, look, you got to give them credit. They stuck to their guns. They didn't play out of their comfort zone.
Nope.
Cade McNamara, yes, statistically hasn't been the best quarterback the last few weeks. But you know what? He's not killing them. I mean, God, if he could hit, a 5-yard route and not throw it behind the receiver, that'd be nice. But, beggars can't be choosers. The guy's a good quarterback, good game manager. That's all you're really asking from him. So that's good.
They played, if you look at it, they played a Michigan brand of football. That looked like the I don't want to say the Lloyd Carr teams, because Lloyd Carr teams were just dominant, but it resembled Lloyd Carr teams. It resembled some of those bowl teams where they played it through the trenches.
Yep.
They imposed their will. That's really been all of the great Michigan teams. They impose their will on teams. That's been the ones who won the national title. That's been the one who's won Rose Bowls, Orange Bowls. Is those teams who go out there and just force you to basically on some Game of Thrones stuff, bend the knee.
Yeah.
And that's what they did. In their past 3 games, they've scored a total of 134 points.
And their last 3 teams they've played, Maryland, Ohio State, and Iowa. Not bad.
Yeah, not bad.
It's not bad. That's 3 good Big Ten teams.
Not a whole lot of field goals in November either. So
that was part of it.
Yeah.
Red zone struggles, inefficiencies, not putting 7 on the board once you get inside the opponent's 20. But, man, it all came together this year for Michigan. It was unbelievable. It was great to see. It really was great to see.
And that's also a testament to the Michigan athletic department. And here's why I say that. Everybody was calling for Harbaugh's head. And a lot of people raked me over coals for my comments. But I'm like, look, when you fire – it is kind of – I'm not trying to compare him to Jim Caldwell, but it's a thing is like this. When you fire a good coach, what is the alternative? You're just going to bring in somebody just to bring him in? I didn't feel that. I felt that if Michigan lost to Ohio State, okay, Harbaugh's seat should really get warm.
Right.
Like, all right, next year you got to clean, you got to run the table or you're out. But you don't just fire good coaches all willy-nilly, because he's brought Michigan back to who they've always been, a damn good regional program that can sometimes do national things. They were, if you look at their records, they've always been somewhere between a 9-10 win team, occasionally can get that 11 win like we saw yesterday.
And that's
Saturday.
And that's an indictment on their program. What were you before Jim Harbaugh showed up? That's like the argument I always bring up.
You were trash.
You were nothing. You were trash. And you weren't beating Ohio State before Jim Harbaugh, let alone after.
That was before Saturday. Michigan has only beat Ohio State, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, like 3 times in the past 20 years.
I think it's twice, including Jim's recent win. But
okay.
Yeah.
It was something like that. 3 times in the past 20 years, 17, something like that. But you weren't beating them before you got there. So why would you fire him when he's brought the program back to what they've always been? You want to go ahead and get that occasional win against Ohio State. You're not beating them.
When's their last national championship?
97.
Oh. When was their last Big Ten championship? 04.
Like Lloyd Carter years, 04.
And this was the conversation we were having in Ann Arbor. Unbelievable. That's a damn good football coach. And it wasn't, who are you going to replace him with? No. A Michigan man playing Michigan football, getting you 4 times in his really 6 years, because I don't even count the COVID year.
Yeah, the COVID year was a wash.
I don't even count it. 4 times he's gotten you to the Ohio State game, where if you won that game, you were in the Big Ten title game. What more do you want outside of going into the game of the year?
Right.
With a chance to win the Big Ten.
And this is where I think where sometimes Michigan fans kind of get a little misguided. They think they're Alabama, but you're not Alabama.
Nobody
the thing is, that's not a slight. No, like you was about to say, nobody's Alabama.
Nobody's the Patriots.
Nobody's Patriots.
The hell? They go on a dynasty. They take a year off. They come back. They're a top seed in the AFC. So we got to go to break. When we get back, we got to talk about the Lions with Kory. We got some Dan Campbell clips we got to play after as well. Kory, I know you got to ask a lot of questions after, some of which I got a soundbite of. I wanna play them back for you, so that'll be interesting. But before we go, I got to tell you, my friends, at MyBookie. And MyBookie, I won a lot of money this weekend, guys. Let's just say their single leg, same game parlays are unbelievably friendly. All right, there's no better time to be betting than the NFL season. Let's be honest. There's no better game to bet on. Let's say you took the Lions. They were, up to plus 270, 280 this weekend as the underdog money line. That was a great bet. So, my friends, as usual, bet from anywhere, anytime. God, I miss doing this live read. Bet from anywhere, anytime using MyBookie. Sign up today using code Woodward, and they'll match your first deposit dollar for dollar. Not 50%, dollar for dollar. You put in $100, they'll give you $100. You put in $200, they'll give you $200. Up to $1,000 on your first deposit. Guys, NFL season, take advantage of it. Monday Night Football tonight. Patriots, Bills. Don't miss out on it. We'll see you after the break.
Tony is a third-generation logger that has a simple, practical approach to life and work. That's why his Coast DX342 knife is perfect for him. The stainless steel blade is rust-resistant and made for all-weather use. And the double roll-lock safety ensures that it will never inadvertently close when he doesn't want it to. That's why Coast is trusted tough.
Follow us everywhere. Just search Woodward Sports on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, IG, and more.
Welcome back to the Morning Woodward Show, guys. We are joined by Detroit Lions beat reporter Kory Woods. And Kory, look, Lions win in thrilling fashion. Final throw of the game. Jared Goff runs to the sideline, embraces Dan Campbell. I think we all saw it. Kind of walk me through post-match reactions and everything you experienced at the building.
You know what? First off, when they started that game out, it was really electric in there because that is honestly the best first half I've seen Jared Goff look all season.
Yeah.
You want to go ahead and say he looked good during the Green Bay series, okay. But that first half, he was – you can say what you want. He was throwing lasers. Those back-to-back passes when they got in the red – when that first that laser to I believe Hawkinson and then Brock Wright.
Yep, right.
Hawkinson then Wright. I'm like, where has this guy been all season? That is the guy that when I heard that the Lions were going to be getting Jared Goff back in the trade for Matthew Stafford, I'm like, okay, if you want to say this guy's not better than Stafford, fine. But I believe that was the guy they can win games with him. How many games? Remain to be seen. But it was just a really electric in there in the first half, and then second half came. A little bit of all right, looked like it was about to be same old Lions. They let the Vikings get back in there. I really did not understand that last fourth down call that could have made this a whole different type of morning if they would just went ahead and punted it, or if they the Lions didn't go ahead and win that game, because I felt they should have punted it. People kicked me all over Twitter. I think in that situation when you have that fourth down situation, you punt the ball. People are like, well, the Vikings could have marched back down the field and scored and drained the clock out. Okay, wait a minute. So now you're just saying you don't have faith in the defense to do their job at all.
Right.
I mean, up to that point, have you seen the Lions offense? Have you had any faith in the Lions offense that they would have gone back and did the drive that they had yesterday?
With no timeouts.
Yeah, with no timeouts. You have not seen any inclination of their offense all year that they could do that, which is why, okay, you go ahead and you punt the ball. You trust your defense, who has been your best unit this year, who has been your overachieving unit this year. You put the game on them, and you're like, all right, you know what? We got Jack Fox, punt it. Now go ahead and make a stop.
What'd you make of Mike Zimmer and his defensive calling the last minute 50?
It was joke.
I mean, I started the show by saying two doofuses went at it, and one wanted to out-doofus the other.
They were the Vikings did everything in their power to give the Lions that game.
Like how they didn't just play single-man coverage and make them earn the routes. Like they're just like, drive it down the field and we'll play goal line defense. You're asking your defense to do a lot. And then you call a timeout, and you give 16 yards of separation and cushion. I mean, they really botched that.
With second and third stringers.
If it was the Lions doing that, I mean, you could imagine the outrage this morning in Detroit.
Oh, yeah, that would have been.
Granted, they had their own debacle with the fourth down call, but still, you give up 20 yards of cushion. Like, you should be playing the end zone line.
Yeah.
Nobody should cross that point.
They did it against the Bears on Thanksgiving.
That was really bad. I'm really curious to hear what Minnesota radio and TV sounds like this morning.
I honestly want
to try to be really
this,
bad.
Yeah, I honestly want to kind of tap in on the station and hear what they're saying, because it was just like they're playing hot potato with the W. It's going back and forth. But I just want to get back more on that game. There are people trying to get on the Lions about how they were celebrating, how they look.
What'd you think of that?
You know what?
I didn't mind the celebrating, because goddamn it, it's embarrassing being a winless football team. And believe me, I've been part of locker rooms where you lose the first 5-6 games of the year, and it's just a huge monkey on your back. And then you finally get one, and then you focus on the next one, and they start coming. Having said that, I mean, you were there, Kory, picking up Sheila. Everyone, dancing around. I get it. But finish your point, please.
At first, I looked at it like, wow, they're really celebrating this one win hard. But then I took a step back, and I'm like, let me look at this differently. For everything that they've gone through this season, all of the, some heartbreaking losses, some things where Dan Campbell actually did something right. Heck, against the Vikings, when they went for that 2-point conversion, I thought that was a gutsy call back then, and they've done things well to win the games, and then they lost in the end. That was a moment of just like relief, weight off your shoulders, and also too, they've said it all week leading up to the game, and they said it after the game. They were really trying to get that W for the Oxford community. that was really a talking point that Dan said they drove home after the game. Hell, he coached the game with the hat, with the school's hat and mascot on there.
Right.
They really want to win that for the community. So you know what? With all of that considered, he gets his first win. He gets his first win. They do it for that community.
What did he say leading up to the week also? It's hard to see progress, growth, when you're sitting there 12 weeks into the year winless. And that's fair.
Yeah.
It's actually one of the more fair things he's said this entire season. Yeah, what do you want people to say about you? You're 0-11 and 0-10-1, excuse me. You want people to say, wow, I really see where this is going. No. But it's games like this that offer you maybe a little glimpse and insight into the future. And it's another game like this, and maybe another one after that, and they finished 3-13-1. Who knows what the record is at the end of the year? But the point is, going into the offseason winless, it would have been catastrophic for the culture he's trying to build.
Yeah.
And then on top of it, you got a glimpse in that locker room from the clips that the Lions posted. You see that those guys really wanted to win for him and play for him. Now, he's going to have to do some things differently in the offseason. I think he's going to have to, make some changes with the coordinators. Obviously, when we're talking about coordinators, we're thinking about offense. They're going to have to do some things to tinker with that offense of coordinators and personnel. But at the same time, you saw yesterday why the Detroit Lions brought him in. I don't think that if they had any other coach in that moment, they would have played as hard for him as they played in that game and all season. I don't think that there was any type of coach that the Lions could have that would have been able to deliver those messages this week to hit home and push those buttons for the players to go out there and play that way. Dan Campbell's going to have to figure out some things as a coach and clean up a lot of his mistakes, because that very well could have been a whole totally different result. But you got to give him credit for this. He messed up, but he figured out a way to get them back in there and get the W. And hopefully he can take what he learned from yesterday and continue that going forward.
It is a huge monkey off that team's back, off of his back. Hopefully that loosens them up. Maybe they'll actually punt now going forward. Who knows?
Right.
Because they've been trying extremely hard all year to try and get a win. Because, look, nobody wants to talk about a winless football team. You finally have one. And, yes, guys, believe me, I know it's only one. But there's a certain message behind it. It offers something more than nothing. And no Lions fan wanted to go 16-1. Nobody wanted that embarrassment for an entire offseason. Yeah, if they still get the number 1 overall pick, okay, good. There were 2 14-1. Whatever the record ends up being. Who cares? It's fine. They showed you they can win a football game. The only concern is the continued fourth quarter decision-making from Dan Campbell, but for another day. Not Monday, not after a win, not after a win in that fashion, for that community, for that week of heartbreak, for the weekend that the state of Michigan had. Not on a Monday, guys. Not going to do it.
Yeah, it's just you can like you said, you can shred that another day, just the way they responded in the moment. Because the thing is, you're going out there, you're dedicating something to somebody. It's like, man, come on. It's more so for me, like, I didn't want you don't want to see a winner's team. You don't want to cover a team that's winners because you don't want to continue to bash somebody and call for people's jobs and everything like that. You got to be objective, but you don't really want to do that. Right. But in the moment where their back was against the wall and they went ahead and said, we're going to do this for the community, and they went out there, they answered the bell, that's damn good stuff.
Yeah, look, I think the message all week was great. The tragedy that happened in Oxford, I mean, so many things came together. It was just a really tough week.
Yeah.
The weekend, things came together. Michigan had won their game. The parents of the criminal that caused all the chaos, they were caught. They were arrested. So that came together. And then the Lions won. I mean, this was a taxing week for a lot of people.
This was an emotional week.
It really was. It really was. And there's nothing I can say that makes anybody feel any better about what happened. I just hope for those 3 hours that they were watching Michigan and the 3 hours that they were watching the Lions, that it kind of nothing hurt. You know?
And that was really the message of the Lions locker room. Dan Campbell said it. Jared Goff said it. they were saying for at least those 3 hours, they could provide those families who are Lions football fans some type of relief. If it's only just for those 3 hours, give them some type of relief where they can put a smile on their face, because nothing's going to change what happened. But at least make them happy for a moment. And they went out there and they did that. And they did it in the most dramatic fashion you could think of.
Right.
Yeah, look, we can nitpick whatever we want. I just think the biggest thing to take away from the weekend is the city, the state, community has dealt with a lot of stuff this week. The fact that Michigan are Big Ten champions, the Lions won their first game. They're no longer the joke of the NFL being winless. Mm-hmm. Just take the gorilla off your back and move on.
Also, something very special happened this weekend as well. And it happened yesterday when all the bowls got announced. For the second time ever, all 5 Michigan D1 colleges will be in bowl games.
That's awesome.
There you go.
I like it.
Add that on to the good news.
All right, we got to go to break. Kory, when we get back, we're going to talk about Michigan and Georgia and their bowl game. If you want to stick around and join us, feel free. We'll do that right after the break. But, Jeff, before we go, please tell our friends about Guardian Line.
Northwestern
Oh,
Tech?
excuse me, Northwestern
I got
Tech.
you. Northwestern Tech, I got you. Listen, guys, everyone's hiring now, and we know this. Northwestern Tech provides great opportunities, and you can start a new career in an industry that is always essential. It's the heating and cooling industry, and you can learn more today by visiting northwesterntech.edu.
Okay, you thirsty little spin goblins. I want you to pedal into the next dimension. Spin it! Spin! Spin! Uh-oh! Carmen's falling behind. Let's give her the hiss of shame. Spin! Spin! Spin till you bleed!
Don't ride the bike of shame. Come to Planet Fitness and find your own lane with tons of equipment, free fitness training, and no hissing. Join today for just $10 a month.
Putting on a show here, and that's how you answer. We love our sports. We just wish they'd love us back. Detroit sports for Detroit sports fans. Woodward Sports.
The college football playoff rankings were announced Sunday morning. The final iteration of the rankings going into bowl game season. And what do you know? The committee does what the committee does. They pull off a bunch of shit. Now, Adam, Alabama beat the #1 team in the country. Their only loss was to Texas A&M, who are ranked. Adam, Alabama's the best team in the country. Fuck you. No, they're not. Excuse my language. Sorry, Fish. I had to get that one out.
So can I tell you something? Because you realize the only reason why they put Alabama at 1 is because they're not going to play Alabama, Georgia until the final. You realize that's it.
Well, that's what we're going to get into.
That's a coward-ass move.
It's weak. You call it whatever you want. It's just weak. Listen, it's bad enough I had to watch Kirby Smart again shit the bed against Alabama. Now you're going to potentially make me watch Alabama, Georgia in the final? Why are you punishing your viewers, committee? Why is Alabama so deserving of the 1 seed? Why? Why? And why is Georgia falling 3 spots after losing to the best team in the country, supposedly? I don't get it. How they don't fall 3 spots to me is unbelievable. How Cincinnati stays at 4, and believe me, I've absolutely dogged Cincinnati all year. You know what? They won out their games. Oklahoma State didn't win, which means they got in. Good for them. But you can't tell me Michigan was the best team in the country. They lost their single game, up 16 going into the 4th quarter. They lost against their arch rivals in East Lansing on the road against an undefeated Michigan State team at the time.
And a very close game.
And a 10-win Michigan State team. And a very close game. And a 10-win Michigan State team. What's Texas A&M's record? 8-4?
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Alabama's the best team in the country? Michigan wiped the floor with Ohio State. Michigan wiped the floor with Iowa. Michigan went on the road and beat Penn State.
Yep.
But you're going to give me the matchup of, Michigan's going to get Georgia and we're going to give Alabama Cincinnati. How are we supposed to even judge Cincinnati? as someone who openly criticizes them.
Yeah.
How am I supposed to judge them? They're going against Nick Saban in Alabama.
They're
And
about
Bryce
to-
Young all but locked up the Heisman on Saturday. So Cincinnati are going to get mauled. And then we're never going to put in a Group 5 team ever again in the college
Right.
football playoff.
Right.
That's not fair. Georgia should have played Alabama again. And Michigan should have played Cincinnati. And I think that game would have been closer than people would have thought. And that was the correct college football playoff. But that's not what we're getting. We're getting Georgia. We're getting Georgia, Michigan. I don't get it. I don't get this committee at all. Every week they make the same garbage mistakes. Alabama all year. So before the game, Alabama was the third best team in the country. Michigan was the second. The committee said this, not me.
I know.
I'm not making this up.
I know.
The committee said Michigan was the second best team in the country, and Alabama was the second best team, given that they had the same record. And Michigan had the best win in college football outside of Alabama's win over Georgia, to be fair.
Waxed Ohio State.
They waxed Ohio State, and then they waxed Iowa the same way Alabama waxed Georgia in the championship game. Are you telling me? I just look, it's all politics. I don't like it. I don't want to see an SEC title game. I hope to God it's Michigan and Cincinnati in the final, but it's not going to be. It's going to be likely, hopefully, Michigan and Alabama. But Jesus Christ, why run the risk of having an SEC title game in the championship game? I don't like it. What's up, Fish?
What game would you want to see more?
I want to see Georgia and Alabama in the semifinal.
So there you go. That's why they put them for the national championship.
No,
you want to
I
see
don't
the
wanna
best
see
teams
both of them in the
play, so
championship
there
The
you
thing
go.
is,
Fish.
them being in the national championship is just wrong, and
No.
it's a blatant middle finger
Yeah.
to what Michigan has done over the past
Yeah.
3 weeks. You go out there, you blitz the hell out of Ohio State, and then in your first Big Ten championship game, you hang for back-to-back weeks. You hang 42 points on opponents.
No, Fish, to answer your question, the matchup I want to see is Michigan versus Alabama or Georgia in the final. That's what I want to see.
I don't want to see
Not two
Georgia
SEC
and Alabama in the final.
Yes,
Thank
not
you.
two SEC
Well, you still
teams.
could get Michigan and
No,
Alabama.
Fish. You're running the risk. That's the problem everybody up here has.
Yeah.
Georgia and Bama should have had a rematch, whether people liked it or not.
That's how it works.
Because we are not interested as an audience of watching an SEC title game for the national championship. I'd rather see it in the, the Cotton Bowl?
Yeah.
I'd rather see it there. Get it away from the national stage.
I would rather, and the thing, let's take it a step further. We know if it's Bama versus Georgia, we know that Bama's going to wax Georgia.
Right.
We don't want to see that in the national championship. You know what? Let's go ahead and get that out the way now.
Right.
You want to see those two play? Cool. Let's do it in the Cotton Bowl. We don't need to do it for the national championship and watch that repeat again on
And
the
nobody
national
wants
stage.
to see it, and Kirby Smart's going to lose again, and we all know what's going to happen if that's the matchup. Why give Kirby Smart an out and give him an opportunity to play in a title game, which he's going to clearly not show up in, like he did in the SEC title game? Somebody help me here. Michigan, look, resume by resume. Put them side by side. Michigan has one more quality win than Alabama. But Alabama, I will say, has the best win of all against an undefeated Georgia in a championship game. Nobody can dispute that. But may I remind you, the rankings were Georgia 1, Michigan 2, not Alabama 2, Michigan 2. And they stayed put after winning 42-3 in a title game?
Yeah.
It just... Nothing adds up with the committee ever, and that's why there's this distrust in college football. That's why people are frustrated. Congratulations, you put Cincinnati in. You didn't give them a shot. You put them against Alabama. That's not fair. They went undefeated, 13-0. Why the hell do they have to play Alabama? They should play Georgia or Michigan, likely Michigan.
Yeah.
You give them Alabama, and you're talking about the guy who doesn't like Cincinnati. That's the draw you give them? So unfair. Extremely unfair. And the committee, look, they've been all year
Inconsistent.
beyond inconsistent.
Yeah.
And that's what you get.
Because people want to bring up now, well, Michigan barely beat Nebraska and Rutgers, but Alabama barely beat these teams.
No,
that doesn't matter.
Everybody
Yes.
and their mothers
Yeah.
barely beat Nebraska.
I
Let's
know.
get that out of the way.
And they
All
were
right?
second.
Oklahoma barely beat Nebraska. Ohio State barely beat Nebraska. They pulled away late. I don't want to hear it. Michigan State barely beat Nebraska.
That's just grabbing straws.
That's a good. Nebraska was probably the best 3-win team in the country this year. And I don't like saying that at all, but they really were. They were a good football team. Adrian Martinez, hell of a college football player. But having said that,
hold on. Tried for a while. 25-18 said the Alabama playoff committee. It's funny. I call it the Alabama Invitational. That's all the CFP is.
Yeah.
Alabama deserved. Look, I am not going to make it as much of a deal of Alabama being 1. I am going to be of Georgia not falling all the way to 4. Michigan 12-1, Big Ten champs. Cincinnati, whether I like them or not, All-American Conference, whatever their conference is, 13-0. They should be 3. And Georgia should fall all the way to 4 because of the 4 teams, they are not a conference champion. It's beyond me. It really is.
Yeah.
Having said that, I am going to address the chat, Mike, because I love you, buddy. Bryce Young won the Heisman this weekend. Look, I've been sitting up here all year trying to defend Kenneth Walker to make sure that he could win the Heisman. And he can't.
You know, BetMGM has, I believe it's in one of the betting odds. They have Hutchinson has shot all the way up to the second odds favorite. Kenneth Walker, 5th.
Yep.
That's a little disrespectful. Fifth?
It's a quarterback. It's a quarterback award, guys, and Aiden Hutchinson right now is an outlier because of how well he's playing.
Yeah.
And how instrumental he is to Michigan's success. You can't deny it. Single season sack leader right now ever, all time in Ann Arbor.
You know what shocks me though? When Sue didn't win it that 1 year.
Well, again, it's a quarterback award. Right. Unfortunately, I just don't get it.
It's like
but Bryce Young, look, I've been a fair critic of Bryce Young. I think his stats are extremely deceiving. He played poorly against Auburn, poorly against LSU, poorly against Texas A&M to an extent, not really. But he showed up in the game. And not only did he show up, he dominated.
Yeah.
You couldn't stop him on Saturday with the best defense in the country.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, that's a Heisman Award winner for me. So as much as I wanted Kenneth Walker to win it, and I thought he was really deserving of it, and I still think he should finish top 3. I think Aiden Hutchinson and Bryce Young have leapfrogged him, Bryce Young being the clear favorite.
Yeah, I agree with you. Those are my 2.
Bryce is going to get it, but you know what? Aiden, you know what? Do you guys foresee? Instead of me saying, let me ask: do you guys foresee any surprises? And maybe Aiden.
I think Aiden finishes second in the voting, unless he records 5 sacks and Michigan accumulates a national title in the next 2 games.
Which is impossible.
Which is possible, though. No, it's not a joke. Look, even after Michigan State beat Michigan, I sat up here and I said, you control your own destiny. Yeah. You win out, which they did. You are likely in the Big Ten title game, and you are likely in the college football playoff, which they did. No one should be doubting this football team. Aiden Hutchinson is a menace.
He's a menace.
And I feel bad for every tackle that needs to defend him.
Mm-hmm.
They try chipping him. They try double teaming him. It doesn't matter. He's playing on a different level.
Yeah, it's you see he's playing well. He was playing well all season, but these last couple of games, he's dialed in something scary.
What do Heisman players do? Step up when their team needs it the most. Mm-hmm. Kenneth Walker made a statement, I want to say back in October, Devil's Night against Michigan. Aiden Hutchinson did it against Ohio State, did it against Iowa. Bryce Young did it against Georgia. That's why they're Heisman finalists. That's simple. That's simple. Best players in the country. Kory, thank you so much for joining us today, man.
No problem.
Really appreciate it. We got to go to break. When we get back, everybody, Dan Campbell's late game decision making. Is it excusable, 1, given the win, and 2, is it time to be concerned about his late game play calling? We'll get to that after the break. But before we go, I got to tell you about our friends at Gypsy Vodka. Gypsy Vodka is gluten-free and corn distilled 6 times using artisan spring water. Support our local boys here from Michigan State alumni, should I mention, and try a bottle today. Ask for it by the name of Gypsy, and as always, drink responsibly.
Fellas, football season is here. It's time to make your grooming experience easy like Sunday morning. Get to Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Walk in, relax, watch your favorite team play, and before you know it, your hair will be game ready. Get to Lady Jane's, open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
Hi, I'm David Hall from Hall Financial. Choosing between a 15 or 30-year mortgage can be difficult, which is why we offer the Modern Mortgage, a flexible term that's customized for you. 866-CALL-HALL or chat with us online at callhallfirst.com.
It's Adam, Jeff, and Kennedy. Mornings on the Woodward Sports Network.
Welcome back to the Morning Woodward Show. Almost top of the hour, 8:56 here on a Monday. Michigan winning the Big Ten title game. The Lions winning their first game of the season. My goodness, what a weekend. We are joined by, let's just say, somebody that for 11 weeks now has done a post-game show. And let's be honest, 11 times it's been extremely frustrating and depressing at times.
But it paid off.
And on Sunday, champagne was spilled.
Yay.
We are joined by the famous, infamous TikTok star himself, Sam Stick Day. What up, buddy?
Hey, good morning, everybody.
How does it feel to walk in on studio on a Lions Victory Monday?
Victory Monday, 364 days since our last win, and here we are together. We did it. Dan Campbell got that monkey off his back. I mean, obviously this doesn't put us in the Super Bowl or anything, but it just feels good. And it felt right yesterday.
It needed to happen.
Yes.
Like, we talked about this leading up to the game. How long do you want to go winless? Like, look, nobody's going to complain. Everybody in the city of Detroit, this is not a stupid fan base. At times it is. But it's not a completely stupid fan base. They know it's a rebuild. And they're willing to get behind a rebuild. But when you put out a product like that for 11 weeks, making the mistakes you make, it's hard for them to get on board. And then, look, you give them one win, and they give you that reaction.
Right.
It tells you a lot about the fan base, which, honestly, it's really amazing.
I mean, there was some jest in the poppin' champagne yesterday and stuff like that because, you know, we shouldn't be in Week 13 getting our first win. But at the end of the day, this is the first step into what this culture rebuild has to become. And yesterday was such a weird game because Dan Campbell did make his traditional fourth down mistakes and stuff like that.
Right.
Instead of running a quarterback sneak, we dropped back to pass on 4th and 6 inches. But things went right for us. And as much as I'm going to bash them and I'm going to be hurt when they lose, I'll be just as excited when they win. And that's what happened yesterday at the Brass Rail. I almost ruined our whole damn broadcast. I started popping champagne, spills all over the place, like almost on the breaker where everything's plugged into, shorted us out. Like it was wild. But I'm telling you, that bar was packed. Everybody was having a good time. They were dancing. You know, even some of the Minnesota fans came through, and they were happy for us, which is cool.
Yeah,
you know,
that
the
is
Minnesota fans were actually really cool yesterday, too.
Yeah, I think you're going to find that with most fan bases outside of Chicago fans, which is like, yeah, the fans are really nice. Like, I was at the Ohio State game on Saturday, the week prior. I was right next to, like, 4 Ohio State fans. Cool. Totally cool. You wouldn't think it's like this, you know, rivalry of.
It's not like Europe. It's not like Europe.
No, not like that.
I hate Ohio State fans, though.
Yeah, but
I got a long story about that. I was attacked when I was 16 years old by an Ohio State grown-up.
Sounds like a you problem.
Well, you probably attacked them.
Oh, no, I was attacking their pride when Charles Woodson ran that punt back because I was at that game. That was the game I was at. I was in the Ohio State section, and after that
started fucking people off.
This old man grabs me by the back of my shirt, pulls me back, and starts screaming at me. And I'm like, I'm 16, bro. Like, I'm excited for my team.
Just
Relax.
take the L.
Yeah, just take the L and go back to Ohio, you bumpkin.
Well, thank goodness the Lions didn't take another L, which kind of leads me to what happened before the thrilling victory. Dan Campbell, 4th and inches. Again, look, deciding to be aggressive. You know, people can criticize it, love it. I'm not a fan. I'm not. I know one coach in the NFL that's as aggressive as Dan Campbell. And I'm going to read you his team. Justin Herbert, Rashawn Slater, Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, Austin Eckler, and one of the best offensive lines in the NFL. Only the Chargers are being as aggressive as the Lions right now. And that's
what about Harbaugh yesterday, though, going for the win at that
Harbaugh's
2-point conversion? That was
he did it earlier in the year against Kansas City. I don't mind giving it when you have like playmakers.
Right.
And the play worked in Baltimore. Lamar just messed up the throw. Yeah. And TJ Watt did really good to get to Lamar to make him adjust. But still. Like, I don't mind when coaches are aggressive in that fashion. But when you're at your own 30, you have the lead. And you got to make them earn it. And your defense, let's all be honest, has looked really good all season.
Great.
And really, really good all game. Stick, walk me through it, man. You were watching the game live, man. What's the reaction of, we just got stuffed, we called play action, they have the ball at our own 28-yard line.
Yep.
And there's 2 minutes, not 2 minutes, 4 minutes, 20 seconds or something like
that?
that?
So I was kind of having a flashback to Thanksgiving because, if Minnesota was smart, they would have done exactly what the Bears did. Grind that clock down to 0.0, kick the field goal, walk off with a win. But the Lions did the right thing, and I don't know if they let them score, but in that position, I'm a big fan of letting the other team score because you're going to get the ball back with some minutes left, some timeouts, and you have a shot to win the game. So, but to go back to that fourth down call, I thought it was horrendous. I wanted them to go for it. I'll be honest, and I've been kind of against that throughout the entire season. Like, we're going for it way too much on fourth down, but I thought in that position, you needed this much. I thought it was simple, and if you go back and watch the play, no one was lined up over the center. All he had to do was fall right. So just stick the ball out. Boom, you got your 6 inches. First down. Let's go.
So that's where inexperience as a play caller really factors in, and honestly, a lot of that should be on Jared Goff too, because. One, you call a play, you don't call one play every time. You're calling multiple plays.
Right.
And then the quarterback makes a decision which one is actually going to happen. Right. That's what happens every single time. And Dan Campbell is likely calling one play right now. And he didn't mention to Jared Goff, hey, if there's an opportunity for you to go under center, do it. And there were so many other plays that were higher percentage, if you want to play the analytics game. Play action was not the call there. And then I think that's what really drove me crazy the most is this need to be cute. We saw them early on in the season, Stick. Empty set on 4th and 1?
Well, at first they were lined up in shotgun.
They were lined up in shotgun. Then they came back and lined up in I formation. They ran play action.
Yep.
Like you called a timeout to get out of shotgun, to get into I formation, power run.
Yep.
To run a play action.
It was dumb. It was dumb. And if you go back and watch the beginning of the post game, it starts out with me going, I don't even know how to start this. We just did something stupid again. And I thought that was stupid again. But then the Vikings returned the favor. I thought them calling timeout before our last play was the dumbest thing that they could have ever done. If you watch the play, Goff runs to the sideline to get the play. When have you seen that in NFL football? They're talking in the headset. So to me, that was some clarity that they really weren't sure on what they wanted to do. Goff prances back out on the field. Then they call timeout. Now we got 30 seconds to draw up our best play.
Yeah, honestly, Stick, I didn't have a problem with the Vikings timeout. What I had a problem with was at a minute 50 mark, they played let's be honest, what the Lions had done at times throughout the season, what teams have done against the Lions. They just played back. They let them get down the field. They kept letting them go. They let the clock run, and they took their chances. But Stick, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
It's not sarcastic at all.
Uh-oh.
When the ball, this much of the ball touches the white goal line, what happens?
Touchdown.
Isn't it a touchdown?
Touchdown.
Why in the hell is the safety 4 yards into the end zone?
I don't know. I mean, I think.
And I'm not trying to shit on the Lions when I'm actually really happy about it. But my point is, Mike Zimmer, I think he lost it Sunday. I think he lost it all.
Yeah.
Maybe even the girlfriend.
But oh no, God, that's the major L if he loses that. But for real, how many times have we gifted stuff like that to other teams? So it's about time we get gifted back. But at the end of the day, man, a win's a win. I'm a results-oriented guy. We got the W. That's all that matters. All the stupidity throughout the game, those questionable calls and stuff like that. To me, it all goes away. We got the win.
I'm gonna leave it here. Said it earlier, man. I really think this fan base is willing to give more time than maybe people really should give, as long as you show them something. And people knock the Caldwell decision all the time, and I don't want to revisit it, but
no, we don't want to get that.
But even with Caldwell, you had a majority of the fan base that was, hey, I'm done with him, and a majority of the fan base that was like, hey, you know what, we got to keep him. And it shows you that this fan base is willing to kind of think a little bit. And if you give them a winless product, Stick, how do you really expect them to support it?
Right.
And they nor should they. But when you give them 2-3 wins throughout a course of a year, and I know it's so minuscule, and you give them a top pick, damn it, the offseason is going to be so much to talk about.
Yep.
So fun to talk about. Yep. You're going to have the draft, 2 first-round picks. The cap is going to, slightly loosen up a little bit. It'll be much better. And then the year after that's going to really open up. and they have something to look forward to. But when you have a winless product, it's kind of hard for fans to say, wow, we're going to have 3 starters really in the draft in the first two rounds show up on the team next year. Jared Goff hopefully looks better. Josh Reynolds has been a great signing. Let's all call that what it is. He's looked really good in a Lions uniform. Amon-Ra St. Brown's starting to come alive.
Great. He had 10 catches
there
yesterday.
are things, if you want to look at certain elements of this team, there are good things. Especially,
look at all the rookies. Every single rookie has contributed this year, and even
I'm so glad you brought
undrafted
that
rookies.
up. Every single rookie Brad Holmes has drafted is playing minutes for the Detroit Lions.
Yep, and even undrafted.
No NFL team can say that. Literally. There's not a single NFL team fielding starters from round 1 to round 7 in the NFL outside the Detroit Lions.
I think Washington, because I was watching the game last night, and they went through the same same thing. And yeah, Washington's getting some productivity out of all. But still, this is what I'm looking forward to. And this is like, that's what you got to focus on. All right, every rookie's getting some playing time this year. And then you can look at, all right, all we wanted this season was for them to get better as the season went on. If they can close out with another win here, competitive the rest of the way, I'm feeling better going into the offseason. I'm not feeling great. I'm feeling better.
100%.
You are, as a fan, you are willing to accept during a quote-unquote rebuild a 3-loss season, or excuse me, a 3-win season and a 5-win season back-to-back, knowing that year 3, I expect 9-10 wins because, damn it, how much talent have we collected? Let's see it produce now.
Yep.
So Lions fans are going to be willing to give Dan Campbell time, but Jesus Christ, stop the mistakes. Nobody calls a perfect game, but nobody makes the same mistake in the fourth quarter for 12 straight weeks. It's unheard of.
It is unheard of.
So we got to go to break. When we get back, oh man, we got to go around the NFL. Matthew Stafford and the Rams, redemption, if you want to call it, against the Jaguars. You had the Chiefs absolutely dominate the Broncos. They look like a legitimate AFC contender now. So much to talk about around the NFL when we get back. But before we go, I got to tell you about our second annual Stuff a Studio. Woodward Sports and Myre present our second, and this is honestly my favorite thing that Woodward Sports has ever done. When we first started this last year, Stuff a Studio was meant to, give toys to, children in need and children that were dealing with, severe illnesses at Mott's Children's Hospital. And the way this community pulled through and came together and filled this entire studio from floor to ceiling was one of the most remarkable things I had ever seen. It was something I had never been a part of before, I had never seen. And I don't even know how to put it into words. Last year we raised over $70,000 worth of toys that were donated. It was the single largest donation in Mott Children's Hospital history.
Yep.
This year we're doing it again. Teaming up with Myre again. And the power of all of you at home, you supporters, listeners. We want to get the studio up to the ceiling again and make every child's Christmas that much better this year. So excited for it. You can drop off a toy anytime between December 13th and December 17th here at the Woodward Sports Studio between 7 a.m. and 10 p.m. We're all going to be here at the Woodward Sports Studio. If you're a local business, we'll give you a shout out if you drop off any toy donation. It's greatly appreciated. Come by and support. We'll see you guys right after the break.
I'm looking to bring on another HVAC tech right now.
We are recruiting 5 to 10 techs a month.
We're looking to grow and expand.
Every new tech we hire is from Northwestern Tech.
The hands-on training is fantastic.
They're always my first call.
We love hiring Northwestern Tech grads.
They come out trained and ready to work.
Our program is only 10 and a half months, and our next classes are starting soon. So why wait?
I'm looking to hire
a graduate
of Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Your Detroit alternative to the normal sports blah, blah, blah. It's Woodward Sports.
All right, lots of action in the NFL over the weekend. Who can not talk about this? The Rams, losers of 3 straight, finally got a much-needed break in their schedule. They played the Jacksonville Jaguars at home. Dominating fashion, they won 37-3 or 37-7, I believe. Jeff, Matthew Stafford, 3 touchdowns, impressive performance, 295 yards. They ran for 120 on the ground with Sony Michel. The Rams looked like the Rams under Sean McVay, even though, yes, it was against the Jaguars. Takeaways.
Yeah, I mean, we see what the Rams are against bad teams, but what impressed me the most, you just nailed it, is the Rams showing us doing what they've done best all year, and it's run the ball. Sony Michel, you didn't have Darrell Henderson. You gave the ball 24 carries to Sony Michel, and it opened up so much for Matthew Stafford. You want to keep him in the range of about 30 or so passes, and they've been doing just that. Last night, or 2 nights ago, or yesterday, Cooper Kupp went off. Obviously, that's a guy we've talked about all year. We were talking about MVP for him early in the season. The Rams are going back to what we thought they were, and I think it's not this week that I'm looking for. It's next week, Adam. They face the Arizona Cardinals. That's the real test. You already lost to him already. Kyler Murray's coming back 1 game off his injury. He just played for Chicago yesterday. Had a pretty dominant win. Now he's coming to the Rams next weekend. So it's going to be an interesting matchup, and that's really what I'm waiting for. The Rams took care of business 37-7. You blew out the Jags. But now go take care of business and start beating these NFC West teams, and we'll start making a case for this team.
Well, they got the Cardinals next, and that's going to be a huge game. But look, I thought it was good. They came out shaky, but they had a third quarter to remember and keep in the books. They played extremely well coming out of the half. They made good adjustments. Again, yes, the Jacksonville Jaguars. But damn it, they needed to put together a game like that.
Needed to, yeah.
They looked really bad the last 3 weeks. No pick sixes this week for Matthew Stafford. You'll take that if you're a Los Angeles Rams fan. But moving on, I thought the game of the week, up until really the outside of the Lions game, the Niners-Seahawks game was a great watch.
Yeah.
Great game. George Kittle went bonkers. 181 yards, 2 touchdowns. Tyler Lockett had a good game. It was really a weird game that had a really unfortunate start. I don't know the returner's name, but he got hit in the neck, taken to a hospital. No update as of yet, but he is, stable to say the least. But man, 30-23, the Niners really blew what should have been a good road win. They should have won that game. They were outscored 9-0 in the second half. They didn't put up any points in the second half.
That's
and
the problem.
You can't win football games. The Lions are notorious for this. You cannot win football games being shut out in a half. And especially the second half. And the Niners they didn't look good at all. And look, that's unfortunate. They could have been 7-5 sitting pretty, but they're not. They're 6-6, and they're going to have to really fight their way into a wild card spot in the NFC. Moving on, I'll let you take this one. Cardinals-Bears. Kyler Murray kind of made a case for MVP. Speaking of MVPs, we'll talk about that after this segment. But they look damn good. Defense is legit, Jeff.
Yeah.
Cardinals are a problem.
Yeah, the Cardinals are a problem. I watched the game, and 4 interceptions. I mean, Andy Dalton he struggled, obviously, and we all expected that. But just the ability to get 4 interceptions by the Cardinals defense, and now you got the report saying J.J. Watt may be available, in playoff time. So the hopes are still there with Arizona. DeAndre Hopkins was able to play, so that's a positive sign. You finally got DeAndre, you finally got Kyler Murray back. Those are your 2 most important players on offense. So I'm excited. The Arizona Cardinals 10-2 right now. Cliff Kingsbury is still my coach of the year. John Harbaugh, you got a lot of guys in that race, but as of right now, the Arizona Cardinals, man, next week against the Rams, I think that's a big game for us really to see, because the Cardinals already beat the Rams, we know this, but next week it's going to really understand and clear some things up for us, and taking the Rams seriously or really taking the Cardinals more seriously. And that's going to be the showdown next week, Adam, when they face the Rams. It's going to answer a lot of my questions, especially. But I think Kyler Murray being out those couple games hurts his MVP case, although he's playing great football. Colt McCoy went, 1-2 or 2-1 as a starter. So it's kind of hard as an MVP case. But nonetheless, played well. Arizona Cardinals next week versus the Rams. You're on the clock. We'll see about that.
I'll take it. Next game, the Chargers-Bengals in what turned out to be a thriller.
Yeah.
To an extent.
Yeah.
Chargers came out 24-0 lead, and then they did what the Chargers do. They blew it. And then they turned on the Jets again, a pick 6, and then they went down and scored again. And they win 41-22, outscoring the Bengals 17-0 in the fourth quarter. Big road win. Chargers improved to 7-5. Bengals fall down to 7-5. The AFC just got so much tighter. The Chiefs are at the top of their division at 9-4. Doesn't look like they're going to fall from their perch anytime soon. Having said that, the wild card race is interesting.
It is.
And we'll get to the Ravens game next. But keep in mind, the Steelers beat the Ravens, and they are now 6-5-1, which kind of puts them in an interesting spot. Jeff, your thoughts on Justin Herbert and Joe Burrow? I think 2 future franchise quarterbacks for sure.
Yeah,
kind of the face of the league in the next 3-5 years. What'd you make of their performances?
I mean, both guys. I mean, listen, Joe Burrow had the 2 turnovers, but we expected a shootout. And, to start the first quarter, I was sitting there and I was like genuinely surprised. I mean, at the half, we're 24-0, and the Chargers kind of choked a little bit, and then they kind of regained the lead. But Justin Herbert, 300 yards, so you can't really say much about that. And then same with Joe Burrow. Each of these guys go for 300. Offensively, the production's there. Joe Mixon got a little banged up, but nonetheless, I mean, the Chargers are a good team. We know this. And now the AFC North standings got even more tighter because now you have the Steelers at 6-5. You got the Browns at 6-6, the Bengals at 7-5, and then you have the Ravens at 8-4. So the AFC North race is going to be even more interesting now that you have a Ravens loss, you have a Bengals loss, and a Steelers win. So how the AFC North is going to shape up is really interesting to me because you got 4 teams that can easily sneak into the playoffs. I don't know if any of them can make noise, but my God, it's going to be interesting to see how this AFC North plays out. But the Chargers, they're a good team. I mean, it's going to be interesting if they can make a wild card spot, obviously. But I think the Chiefs still win that division. But nonetheless, man, got to give credit to Brandon Staley. They've been impressive.
Yep,
definitely.
Absolutely. Ravens Steelers. Ravens go down, score late. What'd you make of the go for it call?
I liked it. I mean, at the same time, it's one of those decisions. It's like John Harbaugh, him and Lamar Jackson have that chemistry already. They look at each other. You want to go for it? Okay, go for it. Like, and it's worked in past times, so they've earned that right.
Yeah, I don't mind it.
They've earned that right.
This isn't some inexperienced coach, inexperienced quarterback.
Yeah,
I like the move. I think that's what you do when you trust your players and you trust your football team. So I don't mind it at all. Yes, it didn't work, but hey, you know what? Live and learn. It's not going to put an end to the Ravens' seasons.
Right.
They'll be just fine. They'll recover. The Steelers, somehow, some way, still in the playoff hunt is beyond me. The defense is really good. Deontay Johnson put together, a 2-touchdown performance.
Yep.
Najee Harris put together over 100 yards from scrimmage. He's looked phenomenal. My goodness.
Much football. The
so much
Steelers
football
lost me some money yesterday. You know why? Because I bet on it was like one of those FanDuel boosted odds things, and it was for the Ravens and the Steelers each to have 1 rushing and 1 passing touchdown, and everything hit but Najee getting in the end zone. But you know what? It's okay. It's all right. Steelers, a bunch of frauds anyway. But yeah.
All right. Well, last thing I want to touch on before we go to break. The Miami Dolphins started the season 1-7. Everybody.
Mm-hmm.
They're now 6-7, the first team in NFL history to do so. Brian Flores, hell of a job to turn it around. They were 10-6 last year. Who knows? Could finish 10-7 this year. Jeff, do you think the Dolphins can make a push for the wild card spot? And also, what do you think of Tua's play the last 4, 5, 6 games?
The wild card spot, that's an interesting conversation. Obviously, they've earned the right. They've been playing good ball. To me, the Dolphins are kind of a baby Patriots, if you will, in the same division. I mean, you have a quarterback who is efficient, doesn't turn the ball over much, run-oriented offense, and you got playmakers, a couple of them on the outside, relies heavily on their defense, and that's kind of what the Patriots' formula for success is. And Tua's not going to beat you necessarily downfield, but he's too efficient for he's going to cause problems for defenses, and that's why I love the Dolphins. Tua, say what you want about him. I don't know if he can bring a championship to Miami, but I will say this: the guy's a good quarterback, a pretty good quarterback, and he's nearly 70-80% efficiency, completion percentage, and over the last couple of weeks hasn't had an interception. So he's been playing good ball, and the Miami Dolphins, man, I mean, that Jalen Waddle, Tua Tagovailoa connection's coming together, and with that defense playing the way they're playing, I mean, it's going to be hard to beat them because they don't make too many mistakes. They don't turn the ball over, and they play disciplined football. And Brian Flores, you can't say enough good things about him and what he's been able to do and how they've started versus how they are now. That just shows the culture they have there. So them making a wild card spot, I mean, that's interesting conversation. I think they're definitely a sneaky team, kind of like the Patriots. I mean, you don't want to face that defense, obviously, and the offense is too mistake-free to mess with. So the Miami Dolphins are interesting, man. I mean, credit to Brian Flores. Tua Tagovailoa has really turned his whole play around. Ever since the Deshaun Watson rumors kind of gotten hotter and hotter, he hasn't had a turnover. He's been playing good ball. So credit to Tua.
Yeah,
overcoming that.
What was Tua's main forte coming out of college? He's accurate.
Yeah.
Injury prone, but accurate. And he's shown his accuracy. He's looked really good. And look, Miami don't have any. There's no sleepers over there. Those are studs. Yeah. Devontae Parker, Jalen Waddle, Even D Ford is a good wide
Mike
receiver to
Gesicki,
have.
good tight end,
Mike
too.
Gesicki's a good tight end. Holland's a good tight end.
Mm-hmm.
They've got pieces in Miami. I like them. I really like them a lot. We got to go to break. When we get back, who has emerged as the MVP frontrunner after this weekend? Was it Matthew Stafford's 3-touchdown performance against the lowly Jags? Was it Tom Brady and his 4-touchdown performance against the Atlanta Falcons? Kyler Murray, 4 touchdowns against the Bears. So much to talk about. We'll do that right after the break. But before we go, Jeff's got to tell you about Lady Jane's.
Yeah, Lady Jane's. Listen, fellas, we like football. The football season's upon us. I mean, we can't get wrong there. And it's time to make your grooming experience easy like a Sunday morning. Get to Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Walk in, relax, watch your favorite team play, and before you know it, your hair will be game ready. Get to Lady Jane's. Open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. You can walk in anytime because it is wicked awesome.
Hi, I'm David Hall from Hall Financial. One mortgage myth we hear all the time is having to choose between a 15 or a 30-year fixed term. At Hall Financial, we offer the modern mortgage to create a flexible term that fits your unique financial situation. Our team of mortgage experts are available 7 days a week to review your goals and customize a solution for you. Get started today with a free 5-minute mortgage review at 866-CALL-HALL or chat with us online at callhallfirst.com.
Woodward Sports. Missed part of the show today? Watch again on YouTube or download the podcast anywhere you listen to podcasts.
Welcome back to the Morning Woodward Show, 9:22 here in the morning, Monday morning, after Michigan win their first Big Ten title since 2004 and the Lions win their first game of the season. My goodness, I haven't had a Monday like this in a long time. Jeff, who has emerged as the frontrunner in the MVP conversation in the NFL after Sunday?
And this is tough because it can change, obviously. But right now, to me, it's Tom Brady leading the NFL in touchdowns and passing yards. 9-3, obviously, among the best records in the league. He started every game this season, which, you know, a couple quarterbacks can't say the same thing. And clearly, Brady is just so valuable off the field. And we can talk about, you know, being the greatest quarterback ever, greatest player ever. It just shows how much of an input he has getting these guys ready. And you can talk about the loss to the Saints. That's a tough conversation to bring up losses because a lot of these quarterbacks have bad losses. Tom Brady, 9-3, among the best record. To me, right now, he's the MVP frontrunner. Things could change, of course. It could. But you can create a narrative for Tom Brady. And especially this year, you know, in the season he's having, the secondary suffered an abundance of injuries, and they still have a good record. So to me, it's Tom Brady. Now, could I see Matthew Stafford making a case? Yes. Lamar, it's going to be tough because he's had he's coming off a bad performance 2 games ago. He got the win. Last game he lost, so it's tough. Kyler Murray's been injured. I mean, it's a tough conversation, but to me, I'm going with Tom Brady. I'm going with the GOAT, and that's who's leading it for me, Adam, right now. Tom Brady. I don't know how long he'll lead it, but as of right now, the statistics are there, the record's there, the health's there, and you got a storyline. So, to me, it's Tom Brady.
My MVP is a guy that has consistently gotten into the end zone, and when he plays well, his teams win. And it's not a popular opinion, but it's for me, it's Jonathan Taylor. Jonathan Taylor is doing what only LaDainian Tomlinson has done in the course of a season. Another 2-touchdown performance over the weekend. Another victory for the Indianapolis Colts. This is a football team that started 2-5. And then Jonathan Taylor absolutely turned it on. And they're now, 7-5 at this point. They look damn good. Or, excuse me, what are they, 7-6? I believe that's the correct one. They're 7-6.
Yep.
I'm all for Jonathan Taylor for MVP. Yes, I'm not going to disagree on Tom Brady. Tom Brady has all the numbers. I can't disagree with you there. But I'm sick of it being a quarterback award. 1,400 yards almost on the ground, averaging almost 6 yards a carry, 16 touchdowns on the ground, and may I add another, 1-2 touchdowns through the air. He has 18 total touchdowns. He leads the NFL in touchdowns responsible for by a skill position player. And it's not even close.
Yeah, no.
Nobody's even close. Outside of Cooper Kupp maybe? Mm-hmm. No, Jonathan Taylor, I love it. I love it.
I like Jonathan Taylor definitely. Honestly, it's a good dark horse. Especially they're 6-5 now, correct? So I mean, or 7-5, 7-6. So the record's there. I would like to see more wins, but no doubt, you're right. The case, if you're asking yourself what is an MVP, it's when this player plays well, you win games. When they don't, you don't win games, and that's Jonathan Taylor. The games they've lost, he's had around 80 to 70 yards. I mean, you're right on spot with it. It's tough to me.
But damn it, Brady looks good.
Yeah.
He doesn't age.
It's
whatever
tough.
the TB12 is. Fish, can you find it for me? Kale salad. I don't know what it is in the morning. I got to put guacamole on my face. Whatever it is. Sign me up for the TB12 stuff.
Okay, hold up. Tom Brady has thrown an interception in 5 straight games. 3 of the games is a pick 6. Tom Brady's not in the conversation. His friend Mac Jones has more of a claim than Tom Brady.
No, Tom Brady.
I don't know about that one, but I get what you're saying. Tom Brady, there has been stretches where he hasn't played as well, but look around the league. I mean, look at this MVP conversation. Besides Jonathan Taylor, I mean, if we're talking about real MVP candidates, they've all played bad in string of games. I mean, if you're talking about
Tom
Matthew,
Brady has 34 touchdowns, leads the NFL. 3,700 yards, leads the NFL. Has the second highest QBR in the NFL. He's in the MVP conversation.
Yeah.
Mac Jones is not. Mac Jones is what Tom Brady was in 2001, 2002, 2003. A game-managing quarterback who doesn't kill your football team and who can lead you on drives. Tom Brady ascended to Tom Brady when Randy Moss came into the picture, Wes Welker. And then after that, he took basically little talent at wide receiver and he threw for 4,000 yards and 30 touchdowns year after year after year. Mac Jones is nowhere near that level right now. Right now, he's at the game manager level, and he's a damn good one. But he's not in the MVP conversation at all. Please, save me the pity. Don't even. Cam Newton won 7 games with this Patriots team that didn't have half the defensive players it has right now because of COVID. So, stop. This is just great coaching. That's what great coaching looks like. Tom Brady, almost 4,000 yards, 34 touchdowns. How many games does he have left on the season, Jeff? 5?
Quite a few. Yeah, you can stack it up.
Jesus.
You can stack it up.
Dude might throw for 5,500 yards and 55 touchdowns.
Listen, Mac Jones, I get the narrative of, yes, the Patriots last year weren't that good. They brought in Mac Jones and look at him now. But the numbers, to me, aren't there. There's more to that, the winning over in New England, than just Mac Jones. I think he's a great game-managing quarterback. He looks like a seasoned vet already. But the MVP conversation, I mean, I would rather
Unfortunately, it's a quarterback's award. All right?
Yes, true.
And as much as I agree with Derrick Henry maybe should have won it, and which is why I'm pushing for Jonathan Taylor this year. But regardless, if Tom Brady throws for over 5,500 yards and 50-plus touchdowns, no one in their right mind is not giving him the MVP. That's just the truth. How old is he? 42, 43, 45 years old? I don't know.
It's ridiculous.
60? His TB12 plan. Somebody's got to get me on this.
I would rather listen. Aaron Rodgers, we missed the game obviously, but I like Aaron Rodgers more in the conversation than Mac Jones, and that's just me because you saw when Aaron Rodgers missed the game, they lost, and they had Jordan Love. Every game he's been in, doesn't matter. All the COVID, they missed Devontae Adams. They go in and beat the Cardinals. There's definitely a narrative there. So, but yeah, Tom Brady, Jonathan Taylor. I mean, the Derrick Henry conversation is interesting because if he's still healthy, I don't think anybody really could argue if he's still putting up the numbers he's putting up, and the Tennessee Titans are good. The MVP conversation this year, sort of like the Heisman. It's pick and choose. I mean, it's really who has the best statistics and narrative, and to me, it's Tom. So we'll see, though. 5 more games. So, I mean, Jonathan Taylor, your Mac Joneses, they all have a case they can make, but as of right now, you must not watch much Patriots football because he's not going to gain medicine quarterback over the last 6 games. He's ascended to top quarterback.
Look, Jonathan Taylor played 15 games last year. He scored 11 touchdowns on the ground and ran for 1,100 yards. 15 games. In 13 games this year, which means he's got 4 more. He's got 1,400 basically and 16 touchdowns on the ground. More first downs he's rushed for. Higher yards per carry. Higher yards per game. More targets through the air. More touchdowns through the air. More first downs through the air. Season long in rushing yards. Like, it's just unbelievable performances by Jonathan Taylor. If you want to put Brady ahead of him, I don't mind. It's a quarterback's award, but look, man, somebody's got to show some love to Jonathan Taylor around here. Unbelievable player.
Yeah,
do you know Jonathan Taylor fell to the second round of my fantasy league?
Oh yeah, they meant the draft. I was like, I know, I was
unbelievable.
In the fantasy league, that's even more appalling, actually, that he fell that low.
Yeah, he went
second
round.
Wow.
I know. There's a few owners that regret that decision.
Yeah,
Tell you
definitely.
that.
I took him last year when he went to the Colts immediately. He had a great season, so you got to follow him up this year if you haven't already. But yeah, my God, can't
All
believe
right.
he fell that late in the draft when he got drafted. That's number one.
Awesome. All right. Well, moving off the MVP conversation, let's just go back to the college football committee. We got 6 minutes.
Let's do it.
Everybody at home, if you want to call in and give us your opinions, 313-552-6322. Call in 313-552-6322. I'm waiting. I'm curious. Alabama 1, Michigan 2, Georgia 3, Cincinnati 4. Somebody in their right mind call and explain to me how Michigan isn't the best team in football, but not even just that, how Georgia hasn't fallen from 1 to 4, given that of the bunch that have made the college football playoff, only Georgia is a one-loss non-champion.
I just gave you why. Michigan is the best team in football. They just couldn't pit Alabama and Georgia together. I mean, that's it. That's their reasoning.
Oh, I know, Fish, but that is the reason I don't want to accept.
So if they would have put Georgia 4, they would have put Alabama 2, and they would have put Michigan 1, and then you Michigan fans would have still been angry.
But that logic makes no sense to me. It doesn't make any sense to me, and I'll tell you why, buddy. Why does the committee want to avoid an SEC title rematch game in the Cotton Bowl, but they don't mind potentially seeing it in the national title game?
Because what is the game you'd most rather watch out of the 4 teams?
I'd rather watch
Alabama, Georgia.
It would be Michigan, Bama. Or
Michigan,
Georgia.
Bama would be a great game.
Yeah.
Michigan, Cincinnati in the final would have been a great game had they both won and played the opposite teams.
Yep.
I'm sick and tired of SEC final title games. I really am. And I'm sick of having to imagine the potential of actually seeing it come through. It's really annoying. Nobody wants to see it. So yes, Georgia deserved to be in. Absolutely. But you can't tell me that they shouldn't have put Georgia and Bama in the Cotton Bowl. That was the play. They should have rematched. Bama should have spanked them by 50 again. And then Alabama should have played whoever won between Cincinnati and Michigan. That way we could accurately depict Cincinnati for what they are. Now they're going to play Alabama, and they're likely going to get mauled. And then we're going to say, well, that's why we shouldn't put Group 5 teams in. That's not fair. And believe me, I don't like Cincinnati at all. 87th ranked strength of schedule. Texas Christian had a more difficult strength of schedule this year. I'm not a fan of Cincinnati. But they're playing Alabama. That's their punishment for going 13-0 and winning their conference.
Well, they would have had to play a hard team.
Georgia is a one-loss non-conference champion in the playoff. They're number 3.
Well, you wanted them 4.
Yes, I wanted them 4. That way they play Alabama.
We don't care how it is, as long as they play Alabama.
They should have played Alabama in the Cotton Bowl. That is my biggest problem, Fish.
Just because, Fish, if you want a national audience, you want to get a Big Ten team in there, SEC team in there. You got Michigan versus Alabama. If you have 2 SEC teams, how does that attract me as nationally, number one, but as a Big Ten fan, I want to root for Michigan. I don't want to see 2 SEC teams face each other again. I mean, this is...
What was the biggest game that people were most excited to watch this weekend? When you sat down on Saturday, what is the game you most looked at?
Okay.
Georgia, Alabama.
Because of this
Thank
weekend.
you, sir.
Because that was the first time I was going to be watching them, Fish. I don't want to watch it again. I saw what happened. Georgia chokes under Kirby Smart. I'm not interested in watching them play Alabama. I'm just not. He's now 0-5 in his career against Alabama. I am not interested in watching that game. I know what's going to happen.
I know that, but that's their reasoning.
That if Alabama wins and they go to the national title game, that they likely win the national championship, whether they play Georgia, Cincinnati, Michigan. I don't care. But God damn it, I don't want to watch Georgia in the final. I don't. I don't want to watch Georgia, Alabama in the national title game. Excuse me. Excuse me. Why punish your audience? If you get a Michigan-Alabama national title game, it'll be the highest ratings you've gotten in years. If you get Michigan, Cincinnati, it'll be the highest one in years. If you get Bama, Georgia, no one's watching, and I'm not watching.
I'll check the score.
I'll look at the box score, and I'll see Kirby Smart lose 72-15 in the title game. But that's about it. That's all that's going to happen. Fish, what do you want me to do here, buddy? Cincinnati got in at least.
And I get the argument.
Well, they had to.
Jake brings this up, and I've heard this before. It's the Georgia loss so bad it didn't make sense to rematch Georgia-Bama, but it doesn't matter to me. I don't care. I'll see a rematch again just to have everything line up how it would make sense.
Jake is right that Georgia should have lost their playoff spot given how bad they lost.
Well, they couldn't do that.
But they couldn't.
Because they had one loss.
Because Baylor won.
So you think Oklahoma State would have took Georgia's
yes,
spot?
Oklahoma State could have and should have taken Georgia, in my opinion, after that performance. But hey, look, Georgia, to be fair to them, they were 12-0 going into the weekend, and they were safe. They knew if they lost, they would still get into the college football playoff, and they did. Fish?
Not that it matters because 5 and 6 is pointless, but are you guys shocked that Notre Dame got 5?
No, I don't give a shit.
Care.
F Notre Dame.
F you too.
F Notre Dame. Nobody cares about them. Kennedy's not here today. I'd give her middle fingers, honestly, if she was here. Nobody cares about Notre Dame. Nobody. I hope the next coach you hire wins you 2 games next year.
By the way, they're playing in the Fiesta Bowl at 10 a.m. Arizona time. Ouch.
Good. I hope they lose by 7.
On New Year's. Ouch.
And I hope when they open up the season against Ohio State next year, they lose by 70. And then when they play Georgia next year, they lose by 70. And when they play Baylor next year, they lose by 70. Nobody likes Notre Dame.
Well, they're playing Oklahoma State, who just lost to Baylor.
Good. I hope they lose by 70 to them, too. Notre Dame. Nobody cares about Notre Dame, Fish. We got
Ohio State's got that Rose Bowl.
Yeah,
they got that nice.
They can enjoy
Utah.
it. We'll take the Big Ten championship here in Michigan, Fish.
I'm just telling you who's playing who. Michigan
Feels
State's
good
got
to be
Pitt
on
the day.
this side of the table.
The day before New Year's.
Absolutely.
They're going to get a win.
All right, we got to go to break. When we get back, what should the Detroit Lions fans look forward to after Sunday's thrilling win against the Minnesota Vikings? We'll talk about that next. But before we go, I got to talk to you about the Foaling Warehouse in Hamtramck. Guys, home of the original football bowling pin game called Foaling. Host your corporate party, team building event, or just come in with family and friends. 2 ways to play: $10 unlimited open play or a private lane reservation for $120 that hosts up to 10 people. Have over 100 beers, a $2 Mystic beer machine, and of course, multiple bars throughout the facility. You can bring your own food in or have it delivered. Check it out at foldingwarehouse.com. That's foldingwarehouse.com.
Hi, I'm David Hall from Hall Financial. Choosing between a 15 or 30-year mortgage can be difficult, which is why we offer the Modern Mortgage, a flexible term that's customized for you. 866-CALL-HALL or chat with us online at callhallfirst.com.
It's that time of the year again. Time for our second annual Stuff a Studio with Woodward Sports. Last year, Metro Detroit came together to help make the largest single toy donation in Mott Children's Hospital history. This year, we make it even bigger. Stuff a Studio is happening December 13th through the 17th at the Woodward Sports Studios in Birmingham. The children in Mott Children's Hospital fight so hard all year. Now it's up to all of us to help bring a smile to their faces. So while you're out holiday shopping, make sure you pick up an extra toy or two and help us spread some love to Metro Detroit this season. We look forward to seeing you December 13th through the 17th as we stuff our studio with Woodward Sports and Myre.
Woodward Sports Network, let's go! Ho, 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 ho!
Now that the notorious monkey is off the Detroit Lions back, I think everybody in the room, it releases so much tension in the city and for the coaches and players.
Yes.
I think it really loosens them up moving forward. I wouldn't be surprised if they win another 2 games. I really wouldn't.
That's the goal.
And I think they're going to do something. They're going to look better going down the stretch. And that's all you've asked for all season is just not only win a game, like show something so I can like actually support you in the offseason. Yep. Don't give me a winless product and ask me to defend you all season. Please. And they didn't. And thank goodness. They won. So, Jeff, what do the Lions fans look forward to going in, not only for the rest of the season, but the offseason?
I think what's underrated about that win, and Kory mentioned it already, is just the aura this week in practice, coming off a win, is the most. They haven't felt it all season. I mean, the closest thing would be the Pittsburgh tie in that week of practice. Now you have a win. I think that changes the mentality not only going into the next week, but the following week. And I think 2 to 3 wins is realistic. You want to end the year. I mean, if you ended with 1 win, I mean, I'm not going to sit up here and scream for the rafters. But I will say this. 2 wins, and I could sit here and say, okay, The Jets are 3-9 right now. If you can kind of catch up to around the league, I still want the number 1 overall pick. Do not get me wrong. I don't want them to lose that, Adam. I think that's where we get confused because you talk about the Atlanta game when Todd Gurley fell in the end zone and we ended up costing us a pick. This year it's important. I mean, if Aiden Hutchinson doesn't go number 1, then we have a different conversation. But I think number 1 is still the goal. But the positive thing is offense. And averaging 15 points a game, you clear 20 points finally. That's something you can build off of because the defense, the defense is there. We know they're going to play hard. Yesterday against Minnesota, they gave up 20-plus points, but the offense, like we haven't seen all season, when the defense gave up some plays, the offense was there to save their ass, unlike the other way around. When the offense could get anything going, the defense has been there all year. And I can't say enough good things about this defense. With all the injuries they have, this week, it's going to be interesting. The following week, I think realistically, I've said this all year, they got Atlanta, they have the Broncos, both on the road. I like their chances, but other than that, I mean, the Vikings were injury riddled. They had a good chance to beat them. We're going to have to go week to week on this thing. I mean, 2 to 3 wins, we can say it, but I don't know if it'll happen. The Broncos, that's going to be a tough game. I mean, both defensively, the Broncos are tough. You saw what they did against Kansas City last night, and you got Atlanta, which can compete offensively. They're going to be there. Defensively, they've shown that you can take advantage of them.
Sunday was the Lions' best showing offensively.
Definitely, since week 1.
Especially in the first half.
Yes.
Well, week 1, again, it was like a facade. It was this, we're just going to play back and we're just going to allow you to go down the field and score. I mean, it wasn't that impressive. But Sunday was. Sunday was really good. Refreshing to see. Good play calling from Dan Campbell most of the game. The second half was a disaster, but at the end, when they needed it most, they put a drive together and they went down and scored.
Yeah.
Whether they want to blame Mike Zimmer, I don't care at this point. What I do care about is that Sunday's win offers the beat writers, the fans, the people in the front office, even the chefs, everybody involved with the organization, outside of it, everybody involved can take a sigh of relief and a deep breath when they go into work today and tomorrow.
Yep.
Knowing that they are not a winless football team. They celebrated the way they did because it would have been a damn embarrassment had they gone 0-16-1. And they looked like it. They really did. So, does that absolve Dan Campbell from his coaching blunders throughout the season and his inability to show that, hey, you know what, I'm going to stop making the same mistakes? No, it hasn't. But, you know what? When you win, you get credit. And when you lose, you don't. Welcome to the NFL. And today, they deserve nothing but credit. What they did for the Oxford community was impressive. All I can do today is compliment the team effort, the camaraderie, and the ability to pull out a gutsy win when all hope looked like it was gone after that 4th down debacle.
Mm-hmm.
And look, what do the Lions need this offseason? They need to go get a good OC.
Definitely.
They need a good offensive coordinator.
Joe Brady was fired. I'm not saying to hire him, but I'm saying, isn't that interesting?
That seems like a Matt Rule, Joe Brady not getting along.
Yeah.
Sam Darnold not playing well issue.
Things behind the scenes.
Still, I think he moves on from Anthony Lynn.
Mm-hmm.
You go bring in a young offensive-minded coordinator, somebody young, dynamic, innovative, and stop. What I say Friday, Jeff, I sat up here and shockingly I defended Jared Goff. Stop telling me that Jared Goff is the problem with this team only.
Yep.
Coaching has been responsible for a lot of this as well.
Mm-hmm.
And Jared Goff yesterday looked good. He did. And that's his first win ever without Sean McVay. Thank the gods. He looked good yesterday. He looked like a competent quarterback.
The last 2 weeks.
He looked like a guy that can deliver the ball downfield, that can make the good checkdowns, can get you first down throws on 3rd down. He did good in the first half. And then on the final drive, we all know what happened. I'll take it. I'll take it. It's something I can hold on to all the way up until November of next year, where on Thanksgiving, you'll know exactly what this football team can be or can't be under Dan Campbell. I'm excited for it. Look, Lions fans have the entire offseason to think of what they're going to do with the top 3 pick, what they're going to do in the offseason with the cap leaning up a little bit. Penei Sewell looking good. all of Brad Holmes' draft picks are playing under Dan Campbell. They're playing quality minutes, making plays. There's a lot to look forward to. Now, look, Dan Campbell's not out of the clear. There are a lot of question marks, man. There really are. But Monday is not the day for him. And I refuse to even have the conversation. You can have your problems with Dan Campbell. Today is not the day. Today, Oxford heals a little bit. Today, Lions fan base restores just a little bit. And the faith and acceptance of a rebuild is restored a little bit. That is what is being talked about on a Monday. Not Dan Campbell, is he a good right coach, whether he is or not. I don't care about that right now. I'm going to have all offseason to pick this apart. I'm going to have all of next year to pick it apart. Right now, they got a win under their belt. Fans are going to be much more obliged and inclined to buy into a rebuild where there are at least a few wins, not a winless product heading into the week against Minnesota. I think Lions fans are at an even point where, thank God, we're not going to go 0-16-1. It's not going to be an embarrassment. Cool. Let's see how the team plays out. Let's see if the defense continues to overperform. And let's see if the offense can get it together. And oh my goodness, how do I forget this? The Lions remembered that they have a top 3 tight end in the NFL, guys. Who would have thought? They finally used him. TJ Hawkinson had a day. That was nice to see. Thank goodness.
Mm-hmm.
That was nice
St.
to
Brown.
see.
I mean, you got
Amon-Ra St. Brown looked good.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take it, man. I'll take it. I really will. I'll take it. I'm willing to, again, people are willing to be patient as long as you give them a product that they can look into the future with and say, you know what? I see where that may be going. All that rah-rah, kumbaya stuff means nothing when it doesn't translate onto the field. And for once, it finally did. And you want to have the Dan Campbell conversation, be my guest. Today is not the day. I'm going to keep saying it. Today is not the day. Today is a day to acknowledge that the Detroit Lions won a football game. Yes, a football game. And they are no longer the embarrassment of the NFL by potentially going 0-16-1. Thank goodness. Got to move on from that. That's plain and simple, Jeff. Hawk being used the way he was used gave me hope for life in general, but that's a whole different conversation. My goodness. We got to go to break. When we get back, it's mailbag time. And hopefully, there will be some people calling in.
Got to call in.
I'm excited. We got people calling in, hopefully. That'll be fun. But, guys, get your questions lined up. Get them ready. We got to go to break. When we get back, we're going to answer your questions for the remaining 12 minutes of the show. Write them in the chat. Call in. Feel free. 313-552-6322. That's 313-552-6322. Call in if you want to have a conversation. Give us your opinions on Dan Campbell, Michigan football, questions, concerns. Drop them in the chat, guys. We'll see you after the break.
Fellas, football season is here. It's time to make your grooming experience easy like Sunday morning. Get to Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Walk in, relax, watch your favorite team play, and before you know it, your hair will be game ready. Get to Lady Jane's, open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
Okay, you thirsty little spin goblins. I want you to pedal into the next dimension. Spin it! Spin! Spin! Uh-oh! Carmen's falling behind. Let's give her the hiss of shame. Spin! Spin! Spin till you bleed!
Don't ride the bike of shame. Come to Planet Fitness and find your own lane with tons of equipment, free fitness training, and no hissing. Join today for just $10 a month.
Follow us everywhere. Just search Woodward Sports on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, IG, and more.
All right, welcome back to the Morning Woodward Show. It's mailbag time, which means we are going to answer your questions for the next 11 minutes. We'll start with Jake's question. Jake says, would you rather continue to lose and get the first pick in the draft, or have the team string together a few wins and somehow show late growth and end up picking around 3 or 5?
That's tough. That's real tough because I want to say the number 1 overall pick, but I think stringing those wins together is big for your franchise, especially where they are now. If you could pick up 3 to 4 wins by the end of the season, going into the next year, it carries over so much momentum. So this is tough. I'm going to say number 1 overall pick just because I know how much this team needs, and I'm going to sacrifice those couple wins, but don't get me wrong, those wins mean a lot. So that's a tough question.
I want them to win another game, but I would like to have the number 1 overall pick selfishly. But now, if they're going to lose games, and they're going to lose games because, you know what, the other team was just better, but hey, we didn't shoot ourselves in the foot and we played good football.
That's okay.
I am okay with that. Again, in the context of a rebuild. So, I don't mind it. Would you rather have Amon-Ra St. Brown or Kenny Golladay? This is easy for me. Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Yep.
Kenny Golladay, too much injury
Younger,
injury
cheaper,
attachment. Underachieving right now in New York. I'm not interested. Costs too much. I'll take Amon-Ra St. Brown on the rookie deal he has. Productive wide receiver for the Lions right now.
What about this one? What chance do you give U of M to beat Georgia?
I give them a good chance.
Me too.
And let's just say I won a lot of money this weekend betting on Michigan, and I will be taking all of that money and betting it on Michigan again. 9.5-point underdogs.
Oh my
give me
God.
the points and give me the money line. I think Michigan have the offensive line to push around Georgia. I think Michigan also has the defensive front to cause Georgia problems. Now, if Georgia's able to run all over Michigan, like Kenneth Walker was able to, you might have a problem. But that's for another day. We have so much time to get into Michigan, Georgia later on. Next question. Do you think the Lions draft a wide receiver with their second first-round pick?
I think it depends who's there. If you have a defensive player that's so much better than the rest of the pack, then you take him. And Kobe Dean, there's going to be a lot of players available. But if there's, Dotson from Penn State, I believe it is, then you could take guys like that, and I would be fine with it. So yes, if the right receiver's there, pull the trigger. Brad Holmes, I trust the man. He would be good with evaluating the talent. But I'm for defense. But if the right wideout's there, I got no problem with it. I got no problem taking him.
Yeah. I think they definitely take a wide receiver with the first pick in the second round if they don't do it in the first round.
Yep.
A Jahan Dotson, Bell from Purdue. They're going to go for one of these guys. Maybe they take one of the Ohio State wide receivers. Who knows? Regardless, this may be the year to trade back if you have the number 1 overall pick. I think that's more important that maybe people aren't talking about enough. If the Giants want a quarterback, and God knows they probably need one, and they're in love with Kenny Pickett, and he's projected to go number 1, trade back.
Yeah.
Get the Giants' 5th and 6th pick right now, and then you end up with Kyle Hamilton and maybe an edge rusher. If Hutchinson can even fall to you, but if he doesn't, that's fine. You still get 2 dominant players in the top 6. I think it's a great move. But having said that, I think the tricky part here for the Lions is if they win a game, they have the tie. So they're not really a 2-win team. So they're going to fall 2, 3, 4 slots, potentially. So winning another game is really risky unless the Jags win another game.
Yeah, the rest
unless Houston wins another game. So they kind of... We'll see. We'll have to wait and see. And who knows? Maybe Brad Holmes falls in love with Kenny Pickett. Maybe he turns into this class's Joe Burrow. Comes off to the scene or breaks onto the scene and ends up being a number 1 overall pick. Who knows? But you have to wait and see. I like the idea of getting more capital, trading back, and getting more players. Again, this team needs starters. And if you're telling me you could walk away with Aiden Hutchinson potentially, and, I don't know, a Kyle Hamilton, which I doubt. I mean, you're not going to get those kind of picks unless the Giants completely falter. And then the Texans and the Jags move up. But still, you have to wait and see. But is there going to be a team willing to give up the farm to trade up? I don't see it right now. The only way I see it happening is if a quarterback is available that teams are just all in love with. Is it Pickett? Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. Now isn't the time, but I would like to see a scenario where they trade back and get 3, 4, 5 starters in the first 2 rounds.
What about this question? It's a pretty easy question to answer. What should the Lions do with Jared Goff? Wait till 2023 or replace him with someone in this upcoming
Wait till
draft?
2023. He's going to be a good quarterback next year. He'll be stable.
Yep.
He'll lose games. It's fine. He's not the guy to take you to the next level. If you're not going to draft one this year, you definitely got to draft one next year.
Definitely. Yeah. Definitely. He's here for next year no matter who you take. Look, since Detroit has the worst franchise in history, is there anything the NFL or Detroit can do to make Sheila sell the team?
No. When there's billions of dollars involved.
No, good luck with that.
Just no.
Good
What'd you
luck.
make of Kenny Pickett's fake sliding, by the way?
Oh, my God.
That was a great move,
Finesse.
but extremely dangerous.
Yeah, but ACL.
It sets the wrong... Well, no, it sends a wrong message. Especially if I'm playing against Kenny Pickett.
Because you're going to slam him next time he
Well,
fakes that
now
thing.
I know he is inclined
to fake.
To maybe fake slide. And if he does, I'm not going to let it happen to me. I'm going to kill him. I mean, that's just the reality.
You're not wrong. I mean,
and look, Kenny Pickett did explain what went through his mind, and it was the right decision. Like, he started to act like he was gonna slide, and then he said, "I saw the players kind of give up on the play. They were like, oh, he's going to the ground,' and I decided to keep going," which is a great football move. I mean, it's probably one of the best moves I've seen all year.
Yeah.
But man, that comes with risk. Knowing that the next time you choose to slide, they're coming. So you got to protect yourself. So I love it. I'm all for it. All right. We got to talk about one more thing before we go. We got 4 minutes. Questions, guys, keep them coming. Jeff, Michigan football, 12-1. Give me 2 sentences explaining how they got here and what you made of their season.
Well, they definitely battled adversity. They defined expectations, and I think Jim Harbaugh, wow, what a season, number one. I think the coach of the year is a real conversation because Jim Harbaugh, I agree, Mel Tucker is in that conversation. He's had a great year, second year at MSU. But what Jim Harbaugh's doing this year, I mean, it's acknowledging that he can't do it by himself. That deserves recognition. It deserves admiration. Just how he went through this whole season. His only loss is in a game he led. Kenneth Walker, all touchdowns on the ground. You got to give credit to him. And he's done a magnificent job of overcoming those barriers set by even the fan base of Michigan. You know, everyone's saying he's on the hot seat, taking the pay cut, defying all odds and overcoming adversity is what I make of this season for Jim Harbaugh. And that absolutely deserves credit, and it deserves praise for what he's been able to do this season. Beating Ohio State, now having a chance to really beat Georgia. I can't say enough. You can't say enough good things. Hopefully he gets an award coming his way soon.
Yeah, look, I mean, you just when you're picking number 1 overall, like the Lions potentially could be, you don't want to force yourself to take a quarterback you're not in love with. The Browns forced themselves to take Baker Mayfield. They passed on Saquon. They passed on Quentin Nelson. They passed on Josh Allen, who's with the Bills right now. And look at the Browns now. Not sure who their quarterback of the future is going to be.
Don't know, yep.
So be very careful. Be very careful. That is going to be it for us today, guys. Thank you so much for joining the Morning Woodward Show today. We really enjoyed your guys' company. So many people on this morning talking Michigan and Lions football. Can't get enough. Again, congratulations to every Wolverine. First Big Ten title since 2004. Congratulations to every Lions fan. Congratulations. You are no longer the embarrassment of the NFL by being winless this late into the season. Thank goodness that is no longer part of the equation that we have to talk about on this show anymore. Thank God I don't have to talk about the Lions potentially going 16-1.
First win since Matthew Stafford. You know, since 2010,
I don't even care about that. First win for Goff.
I'm just saying, it's an interesting fact.
Yeah, the Wings look damn good. I'm sorry we didn't get to talk about the Red Wings today, everybody. We'll talk about them tomorrow or Wednesday. I promise. They look damn good. I believe 13-9-2.
Yep.
They're 4th in the Atlantic Division. Good for the Wings. Lucas Raymond, Cider, love it. Love it. See, give us a good product. You'll get support. Don't deliver a winless product, please. Thank you. Moving on. We got to go. Thanks so much for joining us again. Yep. It was a great weekend. For everybody in Oxford, our hearts and prayers are with you. If there's anything we can do to help, please reach out to us on our social media. We would love to help. Prayers for all of you. We hope you're all doing great and feeling better. And again, if there's anything we can do to help or
Reach out.
ease any suffering or stress or trauma, reach out. We'd love to help. Thank you so much, everybody. Again, have a great Monday Night Football tonight. Enjoy the game, and we'll see you
Go
first
Bills
thing
Mafia!
tomorrow morning. Shut up, Fish. We'll see you first thing tomorrow morning. Thank you for tuning in.